Okay.
We're having trouble with boots.
Yeah. It's out of control already. I mean, it's like... If we could ask everybody to take their seat, please. So we can get started here.
Good morning.
How are
you?
Good.
Okay, I think we're about ready to get started here, so we'll call the meeting to order here for the Regional Advisory Council. And just kind of go around quickly. We've got an agenda before us. We have the minutes that we'll talk to in just a minute. But if we could just kind of go around for introductions, something I forgot last time. I'm Dave Betzler. I'm the chair for the new chair, I guess.
Joe Urban, Area Agency on Aging.
Lucy Crandall, Senior Blue Book.
Cynthia Aki,
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs, okay.
Phyllis Huggins, Eastern El Paso.
Nancy Stannard, Teller County.
Carrie Schillinger, Area Agency on Aging.
Joe Ruth, Colorado Springs.
B. Babbitt, Northern El Paso County.
Norman Carboni, Area Agency on Aging.
Clint Cooper, Eastern El Paso.
Dixie Herring, the Independence Center.
Francine Germain, El Paso County appointee.
And we have a number of provider organizations and other visitors, so if you just start on the corner.
What am I?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry.
I'm chopped liver. I'm Jerry Novak, Colorado Springs.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Christine Cooper, Twilight Squares Monument.
And I'm Faye Bredeman with Mount Community Senior Transportation.
Michelle Dean Amblica.
What?
Laura Engelman, the UCCS Aging Center.
A little.
So Pat Ellis.
We can turn it down if you want.
Diana Spriggs, Fountain Valley Senior Services.
April Leary, Fountain Valley Senior Services, Rail.
Ralph Dodge, our Senior Coalition.
Craig Bending, Fountain Valley Senior Center.
Christine Greiman, Dispatch Health, will be due in the Springs, May 1st. Yvonne Gore, with Park County Senior Coalition.
Welcome, Bobby. Are we missing anybody?
Her. Carol Parks, Teller County.
All right, thank you.
Good morning.
All right, so if we can, I think everybody's had a chance to take a look at today's agenda. If there are any changes, just let me know. Otherwise, entertain a motion for approving those by acclamation.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. And the minutes for the 23rd February meeting are up before us for review. We came out electronically, and also we have a paper copy now. If there are any changes or additions, modifications, if not,
Move that we accept the minutes.
second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Moving right along. Now we're into the public comments section. So are there items not on the agenda that somebody would like to address at this point?
I think we had a new provider that wanted. Christine, you want to talk?
So,
You can come up to the microphone, and then everybody will be able to hear you.
great.
All right. Thank you, guys. So my name's Christine Greiman, and I'm with Dispatch Health. We are a healthcare company that provides acute care in the home. We do mobile urgent care, essentially, and we've been operating in the Denver metro area for about 3 years now. We started in 2013, providing acute home care services to people of all ages, but we work with the senior population pretty extensively through partnerships with home health, senior living communities, skilled nursing facilities, provider groups, and so forth. And we are opening a separate operation in Colorado Springs starting May 1st. So we'll have our ER-trained medical providers dispatching out of a Colorado Springs office and driving to senior living communities, facilities, offices, or homes to provide acute care. We can do anything from sutures, staples, IV fluids, IV meds, catheters, all in the home. And our whole goal is to keep people out of the ER if they don't truly need to be there, so all those lower acuity cases. And we accept all major insurances, Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, and we bill directly on the back end. So we take care of billing, and then we communicate everything back to the primary care provider to keep them in the loop and so they can follow up with the patient. So it's been wonderful working in Denver, but we're really excited to join the Colorado Springs community. And I'm here today to meet you all and start to build some partnerships within the community and talk about how we can work together.
I think that's it's really a unique service that I don't think we're that familiar with here to this point. A question: do you have materials that you could that you've got? Handouts and stuff
I
like
have
that?
lots. Yeah, so I can and I have lots of cards too. Is leaving them in one place the best? Probably. I'll put them over there. Yes, I will do
At
that.
some point, we'd also invite you back to make a presentation, just so we'd have a full description
Yes.
of your services.
That would be wonderful. Yes,
I have a question. Do you do home dialysis?
we do not. No. Yeah, that would be more of a longer term. So we're more for that acute instance, like a nosebleed that we can cauterize, or a skin tear that we can suture up, or flu, dehydration, and stuff like that.
Wound care and stuff like
Wound
that, too?
care, yep, they're all ER-trained providers that come out and can do quite a lot. We have a lab in our car, so we can draw blood and do labs right on scene.
And those that, go ahead, Norma.
Would you just repeat the business name one more time?
Yeah, Dispatch Health. Yeah, and it's one word if you are Googling it.
And it's based out of Denver?
It's based out of Denver, born and raised in Denver. Colorado Springs will be essentially our second market, and then we'll be expanding to other states this year. But we're going to have our own team, our own Colorado Springs providers who, are from here, office manager, and so on. But please find me after with more questions.
One other question,
What are
Faye?
your boundaries? Do you do all of El Paso? Will you do all of El Paso?
Not yet. So we don't go all the way up to Monument yet. One of our handouts that I'll grab you has a map on it, and it shows exactly where we service. And then as we grow down here, we'll be adding more cars and expanding our boundary and expanding our hours. So I'll grab you one of those.
How about Eastern El Paso?
I'll have to show you the map. I'm still kind of new to this area.
All right, well,
Okay.
thank you very much, Christine.
Thank you,
Look forward to
guys.
hearing from you again.
Thanks.
Next is the special presentation by Tri-Lakes Cares. So, Christine, you're on.
Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity to come and tell you about what Tri-Lakes Cares is all about. Some of you probably already know us, but I just wanted to share a little bit more information about what we do in the community up in northern El Paso County. So basically, we are a community-based, volunteer-supported resource center whose purpose is to improve people's lives through emergency assistance, self-sufficiency, and relief programs. We are a Pikes Peak United Way agency, or partner agency. We've been around since 1984. We started out as a grassroots organization started by local citizens who were concerned about their neighbors being hungry. And so our primary focus is still our food pantry programs, but we do a lot more than just that. We are the only comprehensive food pantry and human and health services organization in northern El Paso County, serving that area. So we serve northern El Paso County, as I said, Monument, Palmer Lake, Woodmore, U.S. Air Force Academy, Glen Eagle, and a large portion of Black Forest, basically out to Meridian Road. That is our primary service area, so folks who are living in those areas can come to Tri-Lakes Cares and Monument to get services. So many people ask, why do you need a Tri-Lakes Cares organization in that area? Aren't you considered affluent? And yes, we do have a very high median income in that area. However, there are pockets of poverty. We have seniors who are living on fixed incomes. We have families or individuals who were the primary wage earner in their household and have experienced either an illness or a cutback in hours, or have been downsized so they no longer have the income coming in that they might need. We have veterans, and we have newly disabled individuals who have not yet had their benefits begin. And so they come to Tri-Lakes Cares looking for help with various things. In our fiscal year last year, we served about a little over 1,600 people in 585 households comprising various demographic groups. So there is a need up there, although people don't always see it. So our major programs, as I mentioned, we do have a food pantry. That's where most of our programs are situated. but we do have a medical clinic. We provide financial assistance. We provide school supplies. We have a holiday program which consists of Thanksgiving food baskets so people can go home and cook their own meals. Same sort of food baskets for the Christmas holiday, as well as a senior gift program and a children's gift program, which is highly supported by the local community through donations. So let me talk a little bit more about these programs in detail. So our food pantry, we have a number of programs under our food pantry. Some of them require a meeting with one of our case managers, some of them do not. The supplemental grocery program is a program in place, so if a family or an individual comes in and they need help tiding them over until their benefits start or until their paycheck comes back or they're waiting for their food stamps to start, they can come in, meet with a case manager, and we will provide them, based on the family size, enough food for a couple of weeks in the month. And they can come in once a month until their situation changes. Emergency food pantry, that is for people who come to us, to our doors, when we're not open for normal client hours and they need food for a couple of days or a week until they can meet with a case manager. So these are bags that are already pre-packed, and they can then, we can hand out that food to tide them over until they can meet with a case manager. Our Help Yourself program is based on what is called the client choice model. So as you see in the upper right-hand corner, you see one of our clients shopping, quote unquote, in our Help Yourself area. All the food in the Help Yourself area is donated food. We get it through Care and Share. We get it through the local supermarkets up in Monument and the Jackson Creek area. Some of the fast casual restaurants like Panera, Kneaders. We get their day-old bread. We get fruits and vegetables, we get dairy products, we have a refrigerator with glass doors, and so the clients will come in and they can shop that area choosing what they know they will use and what they know they'd like. So for instance, late last year we got a lot of cabbage through Care and Share, and when I say a lot of cabbage, I mean a lot of cabbage. By the end of it, no one wanted the cabbage anymore, but people could choose whether they wanted to take that cabbage or not. We did not say, hey, you have to take a cabbage. They could choose whether they wanted to take a cabbage or not. And the same thing with the bread. You know, we have everything from the sliced Wonder Bread that you can buy at King Soopers or Safeway to the more artesian breads that you can get at Kneaders and Panera. And so the clients can actually choose which kind of bread or food they want to take with them. The Snack Pack program is a program in place where we provide snacks during the school year to children in District 38 plus one school in District 20 that are considered food insecure, which means they may not have food over the weekend when they go home on a Friday. So we provide packs to those children that have been identified by their school counselors or their teachers. And we have volunteers that come in, pack the snack bags. Then we have volunteers that take them out into the community to deliver at the various schools. And then the teachers and or school counselors will then give them to the kids. So we really don't know who those children are. But we do about 300 per week. So that's going out into the community. And that just shows, again, the need in the community. And we don't know actually whether these children are already part of our client base because we don't know who they are, or they could also be children of families who may need our services but don't know about our services. So periodically we will put in the snack pack bags information about what Trilakes Cares does. So if a family feels they need additional services, they can come to us to get those additional services. So we do try to let people know what we do. I mentioned the holiday food already, but we're also a commodities distribution site. So we have both the TFAP program, which is for families, and the CSFP program, which is the senior commodities program. So we're also a site for seniors commodities. We have our free medical clinic. It's called the Neighborhood Nurse Center. It's in partnership with Penrose St. Francis Community Health Services. Nurse Cindy, who is on the right doing a blood pressure test, she is at Trilakes Cares 4 days a week. And then Dr. Gibbs on the left-hand side, he is at Trilakes Cares once a week by appointment on Tuesdays. And they provide free medical services, medical advice, referrals into the community. Dr. Gibbs can write prescriptions. He's a fully licensed retired physician. And so we're providing a gap in services to people who may not already have a primary care physician, who need medical services but don't want to go to the emergency room. And on top of that, we also partner with Centura Health to have a community health advocate at our offices every Monday. And she does, I always have to look, Medicaid enrollment. So we provide that also in our building, because if we don't provide it in our building and monument, people would have to travel down to the Springs to get those services. So for instance, we have someone from the Independence Center who comes up once a week to meet with people who might have disability issues or need help with services related to disability. And so we try to bring those partnerships into our building, so we're providing as many services as we can. We also have 2 volunteers who are trained to work with our clients coming in to enroll them in the food stamp program, or SNAP, as it's now called. So we try to provide all those services in our building so people don't have to travel to the Springs, because as you know, there is a transportation issue coming from Monument down into the Springs with no public transportation available. We do provide financial assistance. So in order to receive financial assistance, a client has to come in and they have to meet with a case manager. We can provide rental and or mortgage assistance to prevent eviction. We can provide utilities assistance to keep the lights on. We do home repair. We can do car repair, because in our mind it's cheaper for us to repair someone's vehicle so they can continue going to work, as opposed to them not getting their car fixed, losing their job, and then they have to come to us for rental assistance, utilities assistance, for medical assistance, for the food pantry. If we repair their car for $100, it's a lot less expensive than trying to provide all those other services. And we also can do things like post-secondary education tuition help. We can do child care help. So if a parent is beginning a new job and they don't have the finances right away to pay for their child care, we can step in and help pay for some of that child care. And so some of those financial assistance needs are on a case-by-case basis. We also focus quite heavily on self-sufficiency programs. So this is a way for those living in poverty to move out of poverty. And right now we're focused on 2. One is the Getting Ahead program. The Getting Ahead program, if you're familiar with the authors of Bridges Out of Poverty, they are the ones who started Getting Ahead. It's a 12-week workshop series where clients who are motivated to move out of poverty, they're committed to this 12-week series. They learn the hidden rules of society. So us as middle class individuals understand how certain things work in society, where those who have been living in generational poverty may not understand when you go on a job interview how to dress, or to send a thank you after having a job interview. So some of those things are taught in this Getting Ahead class. After the class is finished, we actually hold a graduation for the participants who have completed the class. They tell their story to people who have come to the graduation. And one of the reasons we do the graduation is for some people that are taking this class, this is the first time they've graduated from anything. And so it's a big accomplishment for them. And then something that we've just started this past year are individual self-sufficiency plans. So if one of our case managers is working with one of our clients and they realize, the client is really ready to step forward and maybe look for a better job or go back to school, they will plan out a route with the client so they can succeed in their plan on how to move out of poverty. We do have, as you saw, we do have some very senior-specific programs. We do a lot of home repair in partnership with Mountain Community Senior Services and Rebuilding Together. We have the Seniors Commodities Program. We also can cater to specialized senior grocery needs. So if a senior comes in and they might need Ensure, or if they need personal hygiene items that are more directed towards seniors, we keep some of those items in our pantry so we can cater to those specialized needs. We also have senior-specific workshops. Just this past year, we partnered with Silver Alliance and did a a senior-specific workshop, and then we did a workshop at Tri-Lakes Cares that had to do with senior resources in the community. It was a brown bag lunch. We provided lunch. Seniors could sign up and come to that workshop. And they're planning with Silver Alliance, they're planning another workshop this May. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what the workshop is going to be covering, but you could call our offices or Silver Alliance and they would let you know. And we also have a medical lending closet. And while that's not really senior specific, because anybody in the community can come to Tri-Lakes Cares and get items out of the medical lending closet. So we have things like walkers and wheelchairs and things like that that people can borrow for however long they want. Sometimes we get the items back, sometimes we don't. We really don't care because we consistently get new donations that come in. So they go into the medical lending closet. We do partner with Silver Alliance. We do partner with Mountain Community Senior Services. We partner with Silver Key in the fact that we are a drop-off location for the Meals on Wheels program. And we're starting to work with the SOS program, which is, I have their brochure. Because they came up and did a presentation to our staff last week. It's a way for people who are concerned about seniors in the community to reach out to Silver Key, and then Silver Key can in turn reach out to the senior to find out what kind of needs that senior might need. And so we're happy to do that because we recognize there are probably seniors in the community that aren't coming to Tri-Lakes Cares that might need help, and this is just another way for our volunteers and our staff to know there's another resource available. So if you're at home and you see your neighbor may not be checking their mail or the newspapers are piling up, you can call the Silver Key SOS service and they will reach out then.
I believe that SOS stands for Senior Outreach Services. Is that
I believe that is right. But you know what? It doesn't say that in their brochure. It just says SOS all over the place.
And the focus is behavioral health.
Behavioral health. Yes, thank you. And we're also doing some what they call SNAP or food stamp outreach with a grant that we have with Kaiser Permanente in partnership with Silver Alliance. We're focusing on families as well as seniors so people know that whether they're eligible or not. So in order to receive, regardless of whether they're a senior or not, in order to receive services at Tri-Lakes Cares, you should live in this primary service area that was outlined on that map. Typically 185% of the federal poverty level or below. An initial visit coming into a facility will require a visit with our case manager, and if you need financial assistance, you would also need to meet with a case manager. We just want to make sure that we're using our resources in the best way possible, especially when it comes to grants, because our grantors or funders want to make sure we're using their funds the way we said we were going to. We have walk-in services Monday and Thursday in the afternoon, and then again in the evening. The evening hours are there, so people who are working who may not be able to come to us during the 12 to 3 time frame, they can come to us from the 6 to 8 time frame. And then by appointment, they can meet with a case manager Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays if they can't make it on a Monday or Thursday. We have 2 case managers. They split the alphabet between them, Annette and Paula. Paula does speak Spanish, so if we do have any Spanish-speaking clients that come in, we can provide services to them as well. And we could also theoretically provide services to someone who speaks German, because I speak German, and we just recently hired a new staff member who's Romanian, so if they were Romanian-speaking, we can help them as well. We have a website. We try to keep that very much updated. We have a blog on our website. I just recently wrote a blog because this is National Physicians Week, and so we're celebrating physicians who do outstanding work in the community. Of course, I wrote a blog about Dr. Gibbs because he's been with us since 2008 and is really an asset to our medical clinic. It was actually, he was the catalyst for that clinic because he had contacted a faith community nurse from Penrose St. Francis and wanted to know what the community needs were as far as medical work was related. And he was really the catalyst for us to get the neighborhood nurse center at Tri-Lakes Cares. What has been interesting is that his caseload has declined over the last few years because of the Affordable Care Act. He was seeing probably about 100 patients per year, and by last year it was down to like 15. because so many people had gotten enrolled into Medicaid, Medicare, health insurance plans, and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see with the new administration and how things go, whether his caseload will go back up or not. So that's an open question. We also have a Facebook page, so if you want to like us on Facebook, we post fun things about that as well. And then, again, my name is Christine. I don't remember if I introduced myself, but I'm Christine. I'm the development manager at Tri-Lakes Cares. And if people have questions about volunteering, Kelly is our volunteer manager. If you're interested in coming up for a tour at Tri-Lakes Cares, we're always happy to do that as well. We love to show off our building and talk about what we do. And are there any questions? I know I covered a lot of material. Yes, ma'am.
Where is your physical location?
We're at 235 Jefferson Street, so right downtown Monument. Yeah, we're right next door to what used to be Hangers to Hutch's, but now is the Act 2 thrift store. So we're right there. So you get off the interstate and you head west, and right where the big red school building is, that's that cross street. So we're right there on the right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I hear you mention anything about helping with pharmaceuticals. Do you address any kind of elder or anybody who needs help with
Prescriptions, yeah.
Prescriptions. Well, we have over-the-counter drugs in Nurse Cindy's office that she can dispense. If she has a client that comes to see her that needs a prescription filled, and we can provide financial assistance provided they're eligible, we can do that, so we can pay for the prescription. She also refers out into the community to local vision suppliers or practitioners and dental practitioners. So if someone needs help with dentures or dental surgery, within reason, we can help with that as well. And then Dr. Gibbs, because he is still fully licensed, he can still write prescriptions. So if someone makes an appointment with him on a Tuesday and they need a prescription, he can write the prescription. And if the person needs help paying for that prescription, then we could probably also do that as well. Yes. So in the short answer, yes. Any other questions?
I'd just like to make go ahead.
Do you coordinate with transportation to get to your facility?
Most people are either within walking distance or they have a vehicle to get to us. Where we usually will provide transportation assistance is if they have to come down to the Springs to get assistance. So if they have to go to the Department of Health and Human Services on Garden of the Gods for if it's not like food stamp related or things like that and they have to go down there, we will provide transportation, usually in the form of gas vouchers, because at that point the individual will have to have a car to get down here. Because there is no public transportation between Monument and Colorado Springs. So they would have to have their own vehicle. Yeah. And so mostly it's in the form of gas vouchers. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have volunteer drivers that would help seniors who might not have a car?
We do not provide that service.
Hmong Community Senior Services, Faye Brenneman can talk to that.
Right.
And will.
For seniors, yeah. But no, we do not provide that service. We have a lot of volunteers. We have a staff of 11. 5 are full-time, 6 are part-time, and then we have about 250 volunteers that come in on a weekly basis. Because what they do is they actually, they're our drivers in the fact that they go to like Care and Share in the supermarkets and the stores to pick up the food that they bring back to the pantry. So Mondays and Thursdays is always a hustle and a bustle going on because we've got volunteers who are out in the community. They're coming back. They're unloading their vehicles. We've got volunteers weighing the stuff in, putting it on the shelves, getting ready for us to open our doors. So that's how we use most of our volunteers. And in case you're wondering, sometimes we do get a lot of bread deliveries or a lot of fruit and vegetables on a Thursday. And since we're only open Thursdays for walk-in services, and some of that stuff is very perishable, so it won't last until Monday, the next open service day. We are very proud of the fact that we have very low waste in our pantry because anything that we can't use, so if we get a ton of bread and we give out as much bread as we can on a Thursday, we have volunteers who come in on Friday. They bag up all that bread. And the excess stuff we usually send down to the soup kitchen down here in the Springs. So we have volunteers who load it up in their vehicles and it comes down to the soup kitchen for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if we truly get, really mushy potatoes or tomatoes that we really can't use, or canned goods that are kind of questionable. We partner with a wildlife rehabber in Larkspur, and she comes by once a week to take those things that really are not fit for human consumption, and she uses them to feed her animals that she's rehabbing. So we're very proud of the fact that we're very low waste when it comes to food products in our pantry. And I have to say, we get some really odd things donated in our pantry. People don't think about it. You really should look at your expiration dates. We've gotten things, last year we got a box of Cheerios that was celebrating the millennium. So it was like, okay. So we just put that sort of like on our museum shelf in our food pantry. But the really gross thing that we got on Monday was we picked up someone had did a food collection for us, and we picked it up, and the volunteers were sorting through it, and someone had donated bacon and cheddar cheese flavored dried crickets. They were in a pack like this. It's like, if you're not going to eat it, why donate it is my question. So we do get some very odd stuff sometimes donated, and of course we didn't send the crickets on to anyone else. So
Maybe we don't have that.
yeah.
Oh,
yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. It's just listening to you and hearing all of the different avenues of services that you provide and the waste. There isn't really, because it moves on to help others.
Correct.
I'm truly impressed.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I'm proud to work there, so yeah. Yes, ma'am.
When you go on your expiration dates,
Uh-huh.
how far do you go?
We follow what Karen Share has given us, and typically on canned goods, depending on what it is, if it's soups that are not acidic, like they don't have tomato products based in them, because tomato-based products have a shorter time frame. I think it's up to a year from the guidelines that we got from Care and Share. So we have those guidelines posted in our pantry, and when donations come in, our volunteers look at the expiration date, the year, and they write the year date on top of each can or box that we get, so it's very quick to find. And we rotate through our pantry very quickly, because the goods get put on one side of the shelf, and they get pushed through, and they get taken from the other side.
The reason I ask
Mhm.
is years ago, they did all the canning, and
Right.
all of them stayed down in the cellar for years.
Uh-huh.
And I think it, basically why they're doing that now is because of the lids that they're using on these cans, and any of your acid, like tomatoes and stuff
Right.
like that, will go quicker than anything
Yes.
else.
Yeah.
But they throw a lot of this food away that is still good.
Right, yeah. But we do follow, because that was a question for us, too. How long can you keep canned items? How long can you keep some of the pastas, baked goods, and things like that? And so we actually follow the guidelines that we got from Care and Share, which comes from the USDA. So, because if you're a person in poverty and you're already struggling to come to a food pantry because you might be embarrassed, it's the first time you've been there, the last thing you want to give a person struggling like that is food that is expired. And so if we can assure them that the food that they're getting is edible and is good. I know I've got stuff in my pantry that's probably over a year old, and I still eat it, So, yeah, so we try very carefully to monitor that, yeah.
Cake mixes, all that.
Yep, cake mixes, everything.
Just as a last-minute note here to move it along here, I'm a longtime resident up in the Monument area, and I'll say that unasked for, it really is a huge asset for the community. Tremendous support from churches as well as from volunteers. Churches are collecting food in bulk and providing it to the Care and Share, to the pantry as well. And I think the other thing that's really positive is that they really do, as you mentioned, Norma, that they really make sure that all of the donated materials that they have, whether it's foodstuffs or other things, benefit others. If they can't be used locally, they're working with others. They have good partnerships across the community. Last thing I'd say is that they're really well connected with the Kiwanis Club, which is one of the strongest ones in the United States. And it's a huge asset and money raiser, if you will, for Tri-Lakes Cares. They do a wonderful job in the community. They've got a great reputation, and it's well run. So I just wanted to thank you for making that presentation.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, we do have a lot of community partners, and Monument Hill Kiwanis is a big one for us. They do their empty bowls every year in October, and we're the beneficiary of that particular fundraiser. Obviously, Care and Share is a big partner with us. We couldn't do what we did without Care and Share, although we do have good partnerships with the local stores as well. And the churches, the church at Woodmore right now is doing their Castle of Cans. through the season of Lent. And last year, I just looked at it, last year they donated 735 pounds of food from their Catholic cans, so it was pretty impressive. And then we've got the Boy Scout troops and the key kids, and it's just fabulous. It's truly a very hometown, small-town feel there with the support that Tri-Lakes Cares has, so, and we're truly, truly grateful for that.
And just like the monument area has grown over the years, so has Tri-Lakes Cares. They were
Yes.
relatively small, but they've continued to expand and to bring on new services to support the population. So again, thank you for that.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, and I think we're into provider presentations now, and I think AmpliCab is coming up next.
Yep. So I apologize. I do not have a presentation. A PowerPoint. I do have a presentation. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. But I do have the questionnaires and some brochures if you want to pass them down.
Pass them around. I'll take some of this one.
So my name is Michelle Dean. I'm the Transportation Program Manager with AmpliCab. AmpliCab has been serving individuals with disabilities who are not able to access transportation services since 1971. We have, sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. We recently expanded to include not only people with disabilities, but also to serve people that are over 60 and also people that are low income that are on Medicaid and need transportation to medical appointments. In the past year, last year we also developed and implemented an in-home support services. It provides home care to individuals that need the home care to stay in their home instead of going into an institution. That program has become very huge. In the last year, we've gone from approximately 15 employees to about 70, and our budget has quadrupled from that. As far as transportation, last year we provided 17,966 rides. It was a 21% increase over 2015. The rides were for a variety of purposes, but the top trip purposes were for medical appointments, adult day programs, and work and volunteer opportunities. We provide transportation mostly in the greater Colorado Springs area, but for our low-income Medicaid transportation, we do go into Monument for that. The growth in clients last year was even more pronounced. We served 73% more clients in 2016 than we did in 2015. With AAA funding in 2016, we provided 91 clients with a total of 2,641 trips. And that's a 64% increase over what we did in 2015. That program is still growing. It's not growing at quite the rapid rate that it was last year, but we are still getting many, many new client intakes. And I think that is, people are still learning about our service, and I think that the need in the community is not quite being met, so people are still seeking out services. Our AAA clients, their top trip purpose was for medical appointments, and it was 62% of the total trips provided were for medical appointments. And when I was pulling these numbers to write the report, I noticed that the top reason our AAA are using AmpliCab services to access dialysis. So that was very profound. Over half of the medical trips were for dialysis. The second most common AAA-funded trip purpose was for adult day programs. Let's see. So the most significant change to AmpliCap's transportation service in 2016 was the development of our non-emergent medical transportation program, which provides transportation to medical appointments for individuals with Medicaid. We served 313 Medicaid individuals, and we provided a total of 4,130 trips for those individuals. The age ranges on those, we've served infants, children, all the way up with that program, all the way up to seniors. That program in particular, it really changed our demographics. It changed our demographics as far as who we serve, and then also the types of services provided. Our average client age decreased, and the trips for medical purposes significantly increased. NEMT services accounted for 23% of the trips last year, and they led to a 100% increase in the medical rides provided from over the previous year. The growth we experienced in that program was a bit rocky, but we tried to be very intentional on how we grew. Throughout the year, we hired new drivers, we analyzed vehicle capacity, we made repairs on some vehicles that we kind of had sidelined so that we could put them back into service. And we are, at the very least, use them as backup vehicles and have other vehicles put into service. And we also received 2 new vehicles in 2016, which helped us provide more rides and do the increases that we were able to do. Finally, I'd like to mention, again, our in-home support services program. This is a home care service that keeps individuals who need assistance with tasks of daily living in their home instead of an institutional setting. It primarily supports family members who are providing care for their loved ones, and it is Medicaid funded. We provide that service throughout the county. So we have a case manager that goes and he does the intakes, and he drives very far, the far distant reaches of the county to make sure that the people are receiving adequate care and that the person that's caring for them is appropriate. Most of the clients that use our in-home support services are seniors. In 2016, that program provided more than 35,000 hours of home care to 35 individuals. And the program continues to grow, and it provides us with a lot of new opportunities. It allows us to grow and think about how we would like to expand transportation or what other kinds of things we would like to go into to assist the people that need our help. And in 2017, one of our major focuses is to integrate our transportation and our home care services. So, does anybody have any questions?
I have one about the statistics here. 35,000 hours to 35 clients. 1,000 hours per client. That's a half of a full-time equivalent person.
It is, yes.
So.
Yes, yes. A lot of those clients, they receive over 40 hours a week of care. Some of them actually have 2 caregivers because the hours that one person is putting in is too many. They need essentially round-the-clock care, or at least all day. So, yeah.
The home care part of things, are you only providing the IHSS program
Yes.
through Medicaid, so no other?
No other at this time. We're looking into expanding, but it is just IHSS right now.
And you said that was Medicaid funded?
It is Medicaid funded, yes.
A question that I had was sort of on how do you advertise or get the word out on the services and the expansion into new areas or the extension of services that you're currently providing? How do you advise or inform the community on that?
And I apologize, I am not entirely sure. I believe our referrals come from Rocky Mountain Options. But so we went and spoke with the people that are the case managers and the ones that are sending us the referrals. That is how we let them know of the service, and that's where most of our referrals come from. It's also word of mouth.
Okay.
We're not having any trouble getting clients, I guess. So.
Joe has a question.
IHH, what does that stand for?
In-home support services. Thank you.
I guess the reason I asked the question about getting the word out is that I think typically that the providers that make presentations here and the ones that we visit, that's sort of a typical challenge for them, is to get the word out to notify certain segments of the community that services are available to help them. So it's just a common, I think, challenge for an awful lot of nonprofits. That's why I was asking.
Gail, our executive director, has met with multiple agencies in town as well. So she, us as an organization as a whole, we've been reaching out to organizations or nonprofits that serve the people that are in our target demographic and telling them about the service.
Right.
Yeah, so.
I might just add, just as a point of information, that AmbliCab, El Paso Fountain Valley, who's going to talk to us next, Silver Key, and Community Intersections were the 4 original partners of the call center group that many of you are familiar with.
Okay. And that's another one we funded.
Yes.
Right. Any other questions, comments? Thank you very much, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now it'll be time for Fountain Valley. You have a presentation.
I do. This is my very first ever slideshow presentation, so please bear with me.
Very critical audience.
Yes. I'm sure. Yeah. It's called wrap presentation. I know. I know.
So now to get to the next slide, I'm just going to hit this right arrow, and if you want to go to the slide, you can hit the left arrow.
Okay. Okay. So since 1976, which is 41 years, Fountain Valley Senior Services has helped the Fountain Valley and the southern and eastern parts of El Paso County. We're also known as the Fountain Valley Senior Center. Our formal name is El Paso Fountain Valley Senior Citizen Program. So that's kind of a mouthful. We've worked very hard to accommodate a growing population of senior clients age 60 and older. Our organization seeks to establish and identify services to meet the needs of the elderly. Our goals are to provide a variety of services, including transportation, nutrition, health and wellness, home-delivered meals, and social activities. This is our most current group picture of the people who attend almost every day. Our mission statement is to provide services and activities to older adults which enhance dignity, support independence, and encourage involvement in the community. The program operates a center for senior citizens who reside in the greater Fountain Valley, including Fountain, Security, Whitefield, Strathmore Valley, Southmore. And then we also try to service, as far as transportation and ramp, eastern El Paso County, Callahan, Peyton, Falcon, Yoder, Ellicott, and Rush. We have 4 programs that we run that we request Title III funding for, and that's assisted transportation, regular transportation, home-delivered meals, and nutrition education. Preference and priority, of course, we follow the AAA guidelines. Greatest social or economic need, age 60 plus, with particular attention to low-income minority adults and adults who are frail, homebound, or otherwise isolated. Dialysis and medical appointments are a priority in order to assure that our registered clients get to their scheduled doctor and clinic appointments on time. After medical, priority is given as follows: nutrition, shopping, recreational, adult daycare, education, and then other needs, which we just had a unique question this morning about, because we take them wherever they want to go. What if they want to go to a pot shop? Does Title III cover that? That's federal funding. It's illegal. We don't know. Just saying.
You're going to have to do a pot shot out because they're all out there.
Right. So in the contract. Oh, I'm sorry.
A slide before. So when you say that's your priority, most of the funding is to medical?
Absolutely. Most of our clients are for medical appointments or nutrition. They come to the center for lunch every day.
So in other words, when you're looking at your funding, your budget, most of it is spent in this priority?
Right. Well, no, it's not even that. It's the priority of people when they call to make an appointment for a ride. If it's a medical appointment, it definitely has priority over a recreational thing. The actual spending of the money, no. Okay, so in the contract year 2016-17, we provided 519, or we provided rides to 519 unduplicated clients, 14,754 one-way trips at an average of $18.96 a ride, and that's up or down a little. Our transportation program consists of 9 part-time drivers, 1 part-time transportation coordinator, 1 part-time dispatch scheduler, and several dedicated volunteers. Okay, we currently have 12 vehicles in use, 8 ADA-compliant minibuses, 2 minivans, 1 full-sized minivan, and 1 wheelchair-accessible mobility vehicle. That's that little goofy one on the left. We have an agreement with El Paso County. It's a method of understanding. With El Paso County, they arrange for our fleet maintenance operations to perform maintenance and repairs on our vehicles. So our staff has developed an outstanding relationship with the maintenance staff, resulting in safe and well-maintained vehicles for our clients. So that's it for transportation. Now we go to RAMP. This is Carl. The RAMP program serves residents of southern and eastern El Paso County by delivering nutritionally balanced, frozen, and shelf-stable meals to clients who are age 60 and over, homebound or geographically isolated.
What does RAMP stand for?
Rural Area Meal Program.
Thank you.
This gentleman on the right is Walter. I just wanted to tell a little story about Walter. Walter, last winter, was delivering RAMP meals to Calhan. And as he was heading back to town, he was all done delivering, but as he was heading back to town, the weather worsened, and he wound up in a ditch in the middle of nowhere. Thank goodness he has a cell phone, so he was able to call, and we called county maintenance to go out and get him out of the ditch. Well, in the meantime, the road closed, Highway 24 closed, and they couldn't get out there to rescue him. So we had to call the Peyton Volunteer Fire Department. They went out and got him out of the vehicle, took him to the fire station. Walter wound up spending the night at the Peyton Fire Station. And then the next morning, the county was able to go out and get the vehicle so he could come back. So I just kind of figured that was truly dedicated service from a volunteer. Yes. Okay. For 2016-17, our volunteers delivered 5,291 frozen and shelf-stable meals to 58 unduplicated clients. We mailed out 467 nutrition education newsletters to 72 clients. Costs are ever rising for this food program, but the need is growing greatly. Okay, and that's it for my speech. Now we just go through the slides. So, in fiscal year 2016-17, our transportation accomplishments were that we were able to increase our efficiency to 1.8 passengers per trip, and our service hours also reflect that increased efficiency. We have formulated an LEP plan, which is limited English proficiency. So we've got our handouts and everything in 4 different languages. Yeah. To share with people so that they can understand our transportation system. And we're currently creating a procurement policy and process so that we can get the most value for our money when we get a vehicle or any other item that we might need for the program. The challenges, opening the one call center has been working on us a little bit. It's difficult for our clients to get used to calling the schedulers rather than walking in and talking to someone face-to-face. So we're having to really, it goes against the grain of what we know to be able to, or to have to tell someone, just call this number. Just call this number. No, don't go across the hall. Call the number. So that's something we're having to deal with. We've run at least 1 driver, 2 drivers short for most of this last year. It's difficult to maintain volunteer drivers to run our routes. We also have increased routing distances. We used to have a bus stationed in Calhan to drive people, but now we're running all of that out of our regular transportation office. Increased reporting requirements of both Title III and RTA. It's always difficult to get the reports, but we have a report master in Greg. And Route Match doesn't always coordinate the best route for picking up people when their rides originate in the same neighborhood. And sometimes it's difficult to get technical support from them. Our unmet needs, we need access to certified PASS hands-on trainers. We found an online course for our drivers to take, but with the hands-on, we're having a difficult time finding someone who can provide that training.
What is PASS?
Passenger, what is PASS?
PASS?
What is PASS?
Passenger assisted safety and sensitivity.
Okay. It's a training program required for all the drivers to learn how to secure people in their seats and right. Let's see. Increased service and technical support from Route Match personnel. And then this is really silly, but our transportation department, we would like to, come up in the world and have new shirts and jackets for our drivers. Well, the identification is important, and it's nice to have a presence. Yeah. So our ramp accomplishments, the ramp coordinator has worked to build the client list. We do have a new ramp coordinator. That's April. So our program has averaged 1 to 2 new clients a month while maintaining the provision of bi-weekly food deliveries. We're trying to grow that program and get to at least weekly food deliveries, or 2 boxes every 2 weeks, whichever. So due to the recent networking and word of mouth about RAMP, we foresee steady growth, and we have had several referrals and signups just in the past couple of weeks. April has been going out and speaking to doctors' offices and trying to really pump up the RAMP program. Challenges are the increased client base and the meals that we delivered, managing the budget with the increased clients, maintaining enough volunteers to maximize our food deliveries. We have these 2 gentlemen right now, and I've got an ad in the paper perpetually looking for new volunteers, and then training new volunteers on assessing the RAMP client needs and cross-referencing to other service providers. Unmet needs, if we're going to increase the program, we might need to increase our storage space and our shelving to accommodate more food. And then, again, recruiting more volunteers. Title III funding is crucial to our seniors' health and well-being. That was just a little plug. In case you didn't notice that. And we thank you for your time. These are this doesn't talk about the other programs that we offer at our senior center, but we do Golden Circle Nutrition Program meals daily, and we bring people in for those meals. Sometimes it's the only socialization in meals that they get. They hate the weekends because they don't come in. We offer classes, yoga. There's a seated dance class. There's Tai Chi, Qigong. We offer crafty classes, quilting. People want to come in and do that. It's just, we're a very social organization, and all of that ties together, I think, to make for a great place for our seniors to go. So if anybody has any questions, April or me.
Do you still have the day trip program?
We do. That program is not funded by Title III or RTA, really. The people pay for the bus on those trips, but they do. They take day trips to museums, and they've gone as far away as Denver, Walsenburg last year? Yeah, they went to Walsenburg to take the train ride, the Rio Grande train ride, and
I participated in that program a couple of years ago, and it really is very well organized.
It is, and it's
People seem to be actively socializing within the bus.
It's an awesome thing that they do, and they really enjoy it. They're the ones that pick the trips. They're the ones that decide where they're going to go and how much it's going to cost. Well, not how much it's going to cost, but if they don't have the money, they do varying degrees of funding. Something local will obviously cost less than taking the train ride to Walsenburg, but it's just an amazing program, and they really enjoy it.
Considering how transportation services you do, how old are your vehicles and how many miles do you put on each for a year?
We put about 13,000 miles a month on each vehicle. We have 12 vehicles. We have 4 of them over 220,000 miles on them.
Well,
We have a new one. We're expected to replace one this summer.
We actually have 2 in the works right now with CDOT.
So work with God's Pantry?
Do we work with them? We do not work with them per se. We donate some of our stuff that we have. We also manage a little thrift shop at our facility, and the things that they don't need, they donate to God's Pantry. Our books from our little library, we donate to God's Pantry, but we don't actually coordinate with them to.
Because they used to be out east.
Oh, did they?
Also, yes.
Oh, okay.
In the Ellicott area. But I understand you're being out there myself and putting on the miles that I do. Just trying to see what seniors out there is. I was born here, I live here, and I'm going to die here.
Exactly.
This is exactly what you have to do, and getting people to sign up, I don't need that. Well,
Right, right.
If it's not for friends, neighbors,
Exactly.
family, the eastern El Paso County, and I still haven't figured out how come Fountain does that myself.
Because yeah, we've just always done southern and eastern.
We have 3 vehicles out there today, 1 in Callahan, 2 in Falcon.
Approximately how many people do you service as far as the food and
Very
stuff?
small numbers, less than 20.
It's less than 20 now?
I would like to add that this particular program, or these programs, is what I often hold up when we talk about symbiosis or coordinating of programs, because if you go into the senior center on any weekday, you're going to see a Golden Circle program that's serving the meals in a senior center that's supported by the county and the local community, and most of the people, or a lot of the people that got there via transportation from Fountain Valley. So it's a great networking of services.
Yeah, our people are, I don't want to say geographically isolated, but we kind of are in the Fountain Valley. We have never had, I've lived there my whole life, so again, like you are with Callahan, I speak from experience. We've never had restaurants or medical services or anything really in our area. And right now, one of our big struggles is that all the hospitals, of course, have moved.
Right, north.
They've doubled our
Well, the
mileage.
Callahan, Falcon, the Highway 24 corridor is a lot better set up than when you come over on Highway 94. That's where you get into your mileage and trying to find these people. And
Right. And we do service the Rush and Yoder and Ellicott people.
But it's a matter of, like with me, because of the mileage and everything, I have the help of the fire departments, Tri-Lake, Ellicott,
Right.
this Rush, all of these, as to, per se, trying to show me where the people are.
And that is a struggle.
It is a struggle.
It's a struggle in route match. Route match is supposed to lay out our routes and define our routes, and it just doesn't. It doesn't come close to the time required to get from this person's house to that person's house.
Acreage and
Right.
And like I say,
Right.
when you get to the older generation out there, it's well, you know how it is.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Okay, one more question.
And Route Match, I assume, is a computer program?
Route match is the software that we're using to develop our layouts, our maps, and our rides, and it's a tablet-based program, so the drivers in their vehicles have a tablet that shows them where they need to go and when, and they can communicate with the office much easier. And that's the program that we're using for the One Call Center. All of us have that program now.
Call center uses Route Match as their standard software.
That is one of the things that we provided funding for here.
That funding originally came through when the call center was set up, and I believe it came through a Silver Key grant, if I'm not mistaken. Did Route Match come through you, Pat?
It was actually a joint grant for all of us, but we were just a fiduciary.
So I don't have a question, I just have I don't know, comment. There's a couple of groups in town putting together a volunteer fair in the fall, which that might be a good place to be.
Sure.
And so I'll try to connect you, but it's Innovations in Aging, Senior Resource Council, Better Business Bureau, and the Center for Nonprofit Excellence.
That would be amazing, yeah.
Working together to try to match people up with volunteers, so.
Perfect.
Try to remember to connect you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one more presentation and we'll take a break. So Faye, I think you're up for Mountain Community Senior Services. So we've been going about an hour and 10 minutes or so we'll take a break right after this.
Mountain Community Senior Services was started in 2002 when our community was pretty rural. There weren't many services out there. And we are considered Northwest El Paso County. We have, we're transportation and handyman services. And we own a minivan and a shuttle, which holds 12 people. And we serve locally for any need, and Colorado Springs for medical appointments only. And that's because now our community has grown and we have all kinds of restaurants and grocery stores and all the things that we didn't have in 2002.
Your Woodland Park?
We're Palmer Lake.
Palmer Lake, okay.
Tri-Lakes.
Monument,
We're
Tri-Lakes.
Palmer Lake Monument.
Gotcha. Okay.
What else?
I didn't understand.
Black Forest. Well, we don't really serve Black Forest. So our boundaries are on the east, Highway 83. To the west is Northgate Road, and to the west the mountains. And those aren't severe boundaries. We do sometimes go across, but we stay in El Paso County. We have a board of directors. Each one has an active role in transportation and in handyman services. We pay mileage to drivers. Otherwise, all the work is done by volunteers. An example of handyman services, and handyman services was started at the suggestion of one of the people from this organization here at Pikes Peak Area Agency on Aging. An example of that is Mr. R., who is 90 now, and his wife has severe Alzheimer's. Mr. R. was so afraid that if there was a fire, he wouldn't be able to get his wife out of the house. So we built a set of wide stairs that made it possible for Mr. R. to walk down the stairs beside his wife as he rode down the stair lift, which he had purchased previously. When Mr. R. demonstrated the new setup, he couldn't stop smiling. Another client had a door that opened to the outside with no steps down to the ground. It was a real safety hazard. There was a 3-foot drop-off, and I saw her hanging onto the rocks, so she had to bend over to walk out to her car. Other handymen have helped with all kinds of small and big jobs, such as moving bird feeders so the plant doesn't slip on the ice, keeping the feeders full, changing light bulbs, put up siding, insulation around a trailer, repair a chair, build a ramp, put in railings. We have close ties with Tri-Lakes and have helped many of their seniors with handyman projects. We have ties with other organizations in the area who help seniors so that we can be a referral service as well as a transportation and handyman services. And an example of that is one of the churches in the area will help declutter and clean a senior houses. And I've lived in the area for 47 years now, and I've been impressed over the years that churches work together so well. No one is envious of anyone else for the services they do. We just all work together, and kind of the center is Tri-Lakes Cares. For the transportation program, one huge benefit is the social aspect. In spite of us no longer being such a rural community, still seniors have a hard time getting around. I haven't checked on this, but I would say a large % of our seniors live with their children in the area, in the big houses that are around there. There's a lot of hidden poverty. Wouldn't you say so? A lot of hidden poverty. And a lot of seniors live with their children in their homes. So they are removed from where they grew up or where they've lived for a long time and they have to make new friends. So one huge benefit with transportation is the social aspect. Many of our seniors have moved to the area and live with their adult children. One unlikely friendship, well, a lot of these people have become best friends. They eat at senior lunches, which Silver Key provides, and they ride the vehicles together. I'm thinking of one unlikely friendship between two women with very different personalities. They now meet and play cards. They invited one of the drivers to participate in their card games, and she did. And they even have sleepovers. Or when one family's gone, then the other one will go and stay with this one. And indeed, they have different personalities. Two other women became close friends, and together they took on the responsibility of calling to welcome newcomers to the services and to senior meals. The group eats out once a month, and they take turns choosing the restaurant, and that's become quite a large group. And we've also done some field trips. Kind of, the seniors will say, oh, why don't we go to botanical gardens? And so we'll plan a trip. We do have that shuttle. You can now see these services provide a variety of benefit to the seniors in Northwest El Paso County. And one of the first things I had planned to do was to thank all of you for providing us with an annual budget, not only an annual budget, but also providing with funds when we have extra needs, like breakdown vehicles. And we just do really appreciate that. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions for Faye?
How far ahead do seniors have to plan to take the transportation?
We ask for a week advance, but that doesn't always happen. And even if it's same day, we'll try to get a driver. And we have all volunteer drivers, like I said, probably 42 on the list. And the board provides a meal, tea we call it, but it's really a meal twice a year. And we plan for 42 drivers, but actually we have, I think, 12 that are real active. And it is hard to find enough volunteers, but it happens.
I'm the latest volunteer to drive.
Yes, he is. And you drive the shuttle.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Any other comments or questions before we take a break?
I would give these folks the Bang for the Buck award. They are so volunteer-based that they can stretch a dollar a long, long ways. And we appreciate supporting them just because there's so many services provided for those dollars.
Yeah. And like I said, the board members are all very active. They direct a lot of the programs. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'm going to take a 10-minute break. Back at 10:30.
Okay. All right. Dave, what do you do in your spare time?
I'm really interested in
Good question. These last two groups, because,
Oh, yeah.
up there, everybody gets,
No,
quite a quick. And
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that a lady out there that must call me?
I think she's probably
This senior Dave, and I brought back some
So, that's why I asked about that. Do they, transportation and food, can they go together? But it's,
we never know the rest of the story.
No.
When we get a phone, then there's also the rest of the story.
Right, and for some reason, this particular lady is reluctant to call for transportation. I think
I just brought back things that might give us some ideas.
For a weekly, that's what we might do in Colorado Springs.
Yeah. And this is a list of bills, like this one said did not pass. And do it, bills that die.
No, but I'll go kill it for now.
But that doesn't mean they should have passed. It just means that our legislature is not bringing up its I worked in D.C., I know that. But this one that passed, and I personally think I need to be more knowledge-wise, knowing what's, and that was helpful.
Hey, welcome, sign in here. Here's your
Good for you. Have you got any parade homes up there this year?
They did have there was the
It was good, and by the time it was 5, it was done at 6:30, and it's quite a trip, and then it was over. Walking is the hardest thing. Very fortunate he doesn't want to go, because he was there last year, and so we only had to walk like 2 blocks, because we parked on the east side of the road, and I think it's a cap. It's really quite small. Yeah, it is. And the room we were in,
Thank you.
Frustration out.
I know, you can talk to people.
I know.
Correct.
Gets to be something.
And comfortable seating. So they need a new light system. Everybody needs a new light system. But they have a lot of problems.
If you go Academy,
I hope one of those legislatures said, maybe.
Well, an address change
See, and I'm a little bit very interested in this. Population growth.
The percentages of what they perceive.
This is just for Denver. But they talked about it's like 60% to train in the next it's just a you choose to and fine if not.
Is it because people are aging in, or people are moving, or both?
Both, because it's exactly what they call the baby boomer generation is starting to retire, and I read in the paper that Colorado Springs has, in the last 12 months, had 13,000 people moving. Probably not necessarily, but there's a portion of the community because we often and there's another thing that I'm here because my daughter's here. I did look into it. There's a tax on Social Security in Colorado.
Oh, some places you are?
Oh, yes. Colorado and Alaska.
Luke, my name is Norma Garbani. I left a detailed message yesterday, and I would just like to set up an appointment with you.
I didn't either until I worked for the records manager in the Department of
and
Justice.
I am in a meeting
Went in one day and he was had all this stuff on his screen. What's that? He said, oh, I'm finding out where I need to retire at because there's no taxes. He's still in D.C. because he'll never move, but and that's how I learned about it. So I immediately looked it up and a sigh of relief when I saw Colorado was not.
I'm not sure.
How are you?
Phone number is 74767. Phone number 11.
Kind of new by Steve.
And I will call you back afternoon today when I actually can
Check it out, the first time, I just sent her the link.
Thank you. I'm leaving messages and thinking, oh, this is not good. I shouldn't be leaving messages.
For a minute. It'll be better.
But anyway, I will try this again later on. Thank you so much.
I just did
Bye.
I just did that.
Not everybody, but the most need to cooperate and try to make it best for the residents.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it.
Who's in charge of our committee next week?
Something I see lacking in others.
Is it Cheryl? I don't know.
How are you doing, Norma?
I don't remember, actually.
Good. Busy?
The color is so pretty.
Isn't that pretty, the purple? It's lavender.
It's lavender. It's lavender. It's beautiful.
I love it. Looks good on the
You're not going to know anything about mine.
Small town city and hate such.
I just don't know what. I like red. For me, red is my favorite.
It's very uplifting. Just, I always feel powerful.
I feel powerful. It's my power.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'll have to get a new summer red collar shirt. Yeah.
So, Cheryl Chanel. Is that who's running this committee?
Yeah, I was looking for it on this side.
She was here in
Yeah.
here today.
I don't think she's here.
Well, I'm just going to try to read through all that stuff.
I'm
before
going
the next
to.
meeting.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good point.
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely, because I'm gonna study that before I get down here Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, I'm definitely going. I'm gonna try my best to prep.
It's a lot.
I was delighted to come back home.
I
We're
walk.
going to have more than one meeting.
Oh yeah, that's okay. It's our first time.
Yeah. Cynthia too. She's on your And you went, holy cow, what have I signed up for? Right?
It scared me. It scared me. I looked at it and I went.
See, we all feel that way.
And I went, okay, well, I'm gonna have to study this weekend.
Is there anybody here today that's been on that committee before?
Where's Carrie? There's Carrie.
How are you doing? Good. How's things up the hill?
Oh, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
That's good.
Let's get a bunch.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the moisture section. It's so bad. Amazing.
No, it's all right. I want to save a copy of it.
Yeah. Perfect for me.
I'll save it as a PDF eventually, but for the moment I'm just going to save it on the desktop of this computer.
I wasn't here at the last meeting.
RAC members who weren't at the meeting will want to be able to
I just
PowerPoint,
throw little bits in there when I actually
and that
know
way they
something,
can
and I
manage it on
talk
their own. But I will make sure I'll save it as a PDF, and then after that, destroy the original PowerPoint.
Well, there's a learning curve associated. I've been in this position for a year and a half, and I was talking to somebody the other day about how still every day I find something. Talking about federal programs
Very
and
welcome.
things like
Thank
that.
you.
Well, you see, I tried.
Oh, do you?
Yes. But we still got Joe right here.
For Region
Oh, I didn't know that.
And on the 10th floor,
You thought I would pull my wallet out.
TRS.
So you worked out of DHS 1575? Sherman Street?
Nope, Stout.
Oh, okay.
Because we're just thinking, you know. Okay.
First meeting is next week.
And we're both going. The three of us are saying we have to study all this.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I have that background.
That's what, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So I worked in Alameda County.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
The senior congregate. So, you know, I got that.
You got a good background because that's where most of the rules lie, is in the nutrition program.
Yes, and the senior centers and all that. So I you know, but all of these,
Yes.
the need is greater than the funding. It's always been.
We actually found in recent years, congregate meal programs are declining nationwide,
Right.
the participation percentage-wise, and the transportation
The
needs are growing
is the
dramatically.
issue. You can evaluate all of them. And with the aging vehicles and the miles, we're reading
I was just-
4,000 miles.
We're studying it. I
I
mean,
was
I
telling
went into it, I'm like,
one of the other
oh my
members
God,
that
this is so much
they'll use
information.
a vehicle for about
It's overwhelming.
less than 3 years, and they'll turn it into 250, 260,000 miles.
You know, and where you get the repair, and where you get
That's why I figured it's a good time
We can
to.
kind of assemble again,
It's
reassemble.
amazing.
Where's the whistle?
We just do the best we can.
like getting all this exercise. I'm proud of myself. So I do know that just a little bit.
There's a critical mass.
I see you're a hockey fan, hockey player.
Yes. Where do you see that? Oh.
I appreciate your
Thank you.
involvement.
I played hockey for 30 years.
We were asking you about the student TRS community, both Nancy and I.
Yeah, and I have given that number to lots of people who
Oh, yeah?
call.
I don't volunteer
So I didn't skate till
for
I was
anything.
30.
Well, you know what?
But I didn't quite know that.
But I
the
got myself in.
handyman
Look at all you
services,
do.
that-
I know.
that is
That's
really-
what I'm saying. I'm not doing it.
I know the most.
I
We're
was
just-
retired
we're relatively
3
new.
times. I retired 3 times.
You're like just Frank Sinatra did too.
I was so excited because I got to watch all my soaps since I was so sick that day. And then
Yeah.
this stupid athlete is getting treated. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, this athlete, like,
I have a lady. Maryland. And I keep giving his phone number. So I talked to him since the presenter.
How dare you?
Talk to her. Well, we're certainly glad that you. That's home. Hometown, and of course, it's tricky. That's that happened. Get the lady to allow me to take her contact thing.
I worked
I said the logistics I would have to.
Oh my goodness.
Of course.
I'm done.
Oh, yes, I was, yeah, but, did you get one? You guys get one? This is the old guy. No.
That's all they have.
good kids. TCM.
We'll make a thing.
Oh my God.
To me, it's just unbelievable.
That's why I said that one girl that, you know, we were hoping to get uniforms. Yeah, shirts. You know, with all the crime going on, people knocking on doors and then going
How about that
in.
one that they had that,
one Thursday a week I'm in Grand Junction, one Thursday a month I'm in Grand Junction.
Oh,
He didn't work for the city.
no, but he presented himself as if he was.
Yeah, I know.
That's exactly.
I know. You'll notice I wasn't a senior. That was just a thug.
I loved it. Played a lot of softball, but I liked hockey better.
I got it.
I don't see her.
Brought these back from Denver.
But yeah,
I don't know. I thought I'd read through them, but it's like the programs that the 3A's doing up there. This is their yellow.
yeah, I know those folks.
Anyway, I didn't know if you had one of these or not.
No, I don't. That's lovely. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I saw her getting up and doing that. Trying not to blow the whistle.
Hello there, sweetie. You don't think I have enough?
Yeah, sure. Just say
Oh, I don't know where that came from.
Oh, that's what you just gave me. Crime fighter. I am, man. I just shoot him. Is that crime fighter? Just shoot him?
Okay, we'll talk some more.
We will.
Yeah, but you cannot go out your front door and shoot somebody
No,
in
no,
their lawn.
don't
You have to
shoot.
wait until they try and come in the door.
Well, they'd have to kick in a solid 4 doors. So I'd have
Ditto.
to shoot him through the door and
I've
just
sat
drag
there,
him in.
I've sat there at the house
I'm old
occasions
enough, I'd get away
with the gun right to my head. Oh, years ago.
I'm not going to come to your house.
No. You can now.
Let us get to know each other.
Gosh. My neighbor across my neighbor across the street, they have guns in their house, but you know what she keeps by her door? Wasp spray that
Again,
shoots
can
40
we get
feet.
back to the agenda here? We've been going an hour and a half, so just to respect each other's time and stuff. The next thing on the is information items, and this is the Senior Medicare Patrol by Karen Morgan of the AAA staff.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome. I'm Karen Morgan. I'm with the Area Agency on Aging, and I know that I've spoken with some of you before regarding the Senior Medicare Patrol. Bear with me while I repeat myself just a little bit today. Most of you know that the AAA helps seniors and individuals with disabilities navigate the complexities of Medicare coverage. We're the lead SHIP agency, the State Health Insurance Counseling Program. And we're also the Senior Medicare Patrol, which helps seniors protect and fight fraud and abuse, protect their Medicare benefits. We serve 9 counties regarding our SHIP and Senior Medicare Patrol programs. And those counties are El Paso County, Teller County, Park, Chaffee, Custer, Fremont, Huerfano, Lake, and Los Animas. So we cover a very large area and assist many seniors and individuals with disabilities over a significantly large area. The Senior Medicare Patrol, and I've handed out some information to each of you, just a two-sided brief presentation regarding Senior Medicare Patrol to help you understand a little bit about the program. But the Senior Medicare Patrol is essentially a program that helps empower and assist Medicare beneficiaries, their families, and their caregivers to prevent, detect, and report fraud, errors, and abuse through outreach, counseling, and education. The Senior Medicare Patrol is comprised mostly of volunteers, and it allows these volunteers to make a difference in their community by working to ensure the Medicare program will be protected for future generations. The Senior Medicare Patrols are grant-funded projects, and those funds are through the federal U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the U.S. Administration for Community Living, and also through the Older Americans Act. There are 6 types of activities that most commonly are conducted by Senior Medicare Patrol volunteers nationally. We assist with some administrative duties. Senior Medicare Patrol volunteers may assist by distributing information to seniors and beneficiaries and family members, perhaps staffing exhibits or making group presentations, and then again through counseling. Most often, the Senior Medicare Patrol volunteers are also assisting with managing complex interactions, helping with in-depth interactions with beneficiaries who are reporting instances of healthcare fraud, errors, and abuse. One example that I'd really like to share with you that can perhaps help understand the impact of what the Senior Medicare Patrol program can do is this is the local SHIP office. Many seniors come into our office on a daily basis with questions regarding insurance and Medicare, and many times are not aware of whether fraud has been committed, whether this is abuse, or perhaps is this a billing question or error that I'm looking at. Perhaps this is something that the senior is just not really understanding regarding their insurance benefits. But in this past year, our SHIP and Senior Medicare Patrol program has assisted many seniors in saving thousands of dollars that might have been lost, perhaps if they were not aware of some of the guidelines and the rules regarding their protections. One such example, there are 2 Medicare beneficiaries who came to our office within this past year who had each been sold Medicare Advantage plans while they were enrolled in Medigap and supplement insurance coverage. That's an absolute no-no, but those seniors weren't aware of that. And through our work, we were able to assist each of those seniors in receiving a full refund of their yearly premiums that had been paid for that supplement Medigap insurance coverage. We're talking the tune of $2,500, $2,600 per individual. That's an example of two people that we've helped in this past year. This office assists hundreds of seniors that come through this door every day, hundreds of seniors that call this office from the surrounding counties. We can help so many more seniors if we can reach many more seniors, and that's where we are asking for your assistance. We want to make you aware of the Senior Medicare Patrol, make you aware of the fact that the Senior Medicare Patrol consists mainly of volunteers, individuals like yourselves, individuals who may not have a significant background in Medicare or counseling or in Medicare billing or perhaps even insurance backgrounds. But if you have a desire to help and a basic understanding of some of the guidelines, you can certainly assist us by educating the general public, by educating Medicare beneficiaries, as well as individuals in the surrounding counties and El Paso County, to the fact that we exist, that we're here to help with those questions. So our Senior Medicare Patrol volunteers are asked to perhaps go through some training. There's about 5 to 10 hours of online training that might be required to become a Senior Medicare Patrol volunteer. Once a Senior Medicare Patrol volunteer completes that minimal training, we will mentor and work with you to assist you so that you feel comfortable if you're going out into the community, if you're doing a presentation, to assist you with what information you would be sharing and what questions you might be able to answer. For the most part, Senior Medicare Patrol volunteers that are out and about in the community are asked to educate individuals about our existence and to direct those individuals here, to make Medicare beneficiaries and their families aware of the fact that we are here to help guide them and assist them with this process. So the Senior Medicare Patrol volunteers that work in our community on our behalf are not required to solve issues and, complete complex interactions with Medicare themselves. I just want to stress that this is an opportunity to educate the public about our existence and perhaps direct them to this office for that assistance. The Senior Medicare Patrol program is in jeopardy like all of our programs are. We worry about funding. We're often concerned about are funds going to be available? Are the same funds going to be available? How do we do more with less? That's the question that we ask ourselves every year. So we're here asking you to help us do more with less. The more volunteers that we can recruit, the more assistance that we can receive, the more we can spread the word to Medicare beneficiaries about our program, and that will help our program grow and become stronger. So if there are any questions, if anyone is interested in perhaps learning more about the Senior Medicare Patrol, or if perhaps you're interested in referring someone, or if you know someone who might be interested in becoming qualified and trained to become a Senior Medicare Patrol volunteer, please have them contact this office. My name and my contact information is listed on the handout, and we would be happy to speak with anyone and meet with them one-on-one and give you some more details about what might be involved with the Senior Medicare Patrol project. Are there any questions?
How many active volunteers do you have for this program?
Right now, the Senior Medicare Patrol project, we have, I believe, only 2 volunteers within this particular program. I'm paid staff. I'm a Senior Medicare Patrol. I am certified as Senior Medicare Patrol, as are all the SHIP counselors here. So there are 4 paid staff, SHIP counselors here in this office that perform these duties, but we're looking to broaden that, to reach further, and we're going to be able to do so with
When did this program
volunteers.
start?
This program began in 1995. The Senior Medicare Patrol it's relatively new in the eyes of Medicare. 1995, though, is quite some time ago now that we think about it. But in the eyes of Medicare, the Senior Medicare Patrol is a relatively new project. Yes, yes.
I have a question. When you have these blatant, I don't know, would you call them a violation? The two that you mentioned? Are there discipline or fines or something for the people that do that?
We direct, our concerns to the Division of Insurance, and the Division of Insurance takes appropriate action depending on what the circumstances might be. There's investigation. Sometimes errors are made, and sometimes errors are made by agents or brokers through no fault of their own. There are times perhaps that a Medicare beneficiary might not fully disclose enough information in order for the agent or the broker to act appropriately. So it's going to depend on circumstances, but in the two instances that I referred to, my understanding is that each of those brokers were they were fined or sanctioned in some way.
That makes me feel a little better.
Yes.
Because it is a commission system. Commission system, and that opens up all kinds of...
But, it certainly depends on the level of the infraction and, also the intent and, yes. And even at our level, we don't get that in-depth with the process. I mean, we make the referral, we determine that this requires further investigation, and then we turn it over to the individuals who are charged with making that investigation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions?
I might just kind of frame a little bit of the AAA's involvement with the insurance program. Roughly 52% of the folks that call in or walk through that door are coming here with some form of insurance question. That's very, very, very high for AAA statewide. So we have the state guru in Roma Costanza. We have a long history of being very strong in the insurance area, and so we pride ourselves in that. The flip side of that is, as Karen mentioned, SHIP funding is certainly a concerning area right now. I know on Monday it was released that the President's budget would eliminate SHIP funding for the next year, and obviously that's of concern to us. The total funding for that program nationwide for all 57 states and territories of the United States is $49 million. And we're not able to make political comments, but if you want to frame that $49 million, it'll buy you about 3.5 miles of fence. So,
But there's, yeah, right.
So it's a fraction of the federal budget, and not only that, the amount of money that it saves is enormous. So.
Yes.
So it's a very, very cost-effective program. The other thing I want to mention is Karen has been diligent in the last year. One of our goals for FY 16-17 was to get our rural outreach enhanced a little bit. So this month she has been in Canyon City, Salida, Calhoun. We're spreading her around a lot. So trying to get that word out about all these different programs that we have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
And next is the End Retirement Series by Pam.
Good morning.
Pam.
Speaking of being spread around, we have spread around a new series of classes that we want to introduce to you today. You all got a handout, I think, on what we're doing. About 3.5 years ago, the staff with the AAA had an off-site strategy meeting in terms of goals and future plans and what were we going to do and what did we want to reach. And one of the things that came out of that was this series, because we realized with all the baby boomers coming down and realized with all you now know and understand some of the insurance the magnitude of the insurance questions and the people who come in here, that's a good bulk of our business, that there's a lot of other people out there who would be coming and calling and wanting one-on-one consultation. With that in mind, it became very questionable if with the staff that we had, if we would have the time and the energy to do all that, to keep up with all of this. So what we did is we put together a series. We went out and partnered with Ent Credit Union. We asked them if they would be interested in holding a session with us. We had our meeting. It was very successful, and I was very nervous the first meeting we had because I didn't know for sure if this was going to be something that they would be interested in, but they had open arms and they were ready to move on it. In fact, they were already doing some of their own seminars. So this partnership has benefited both of us, and we're in our third year now doing this. Both sessions the prior 2 years have been at Ent Credit Union. This year, we're going to have it in this building, in this room here. So that'll be a new and different thing, and we're really excited about that because it'll bring people into this venue that perhaps haven't seen us or know about what we do here at the Area Agency on Aging. So what we are doing is we're trying to look. We started with 6 classes several years ago, but we've condensed it down to 4. And this year it's going to be the first 4 Tuesdays in May. And we're working with, if you can look at your agenda or your syllabus there quickly, you can see that we're beginning with trying to introduce people to retirement and the other side of retirement, which is the non-financial piece, because there's a huge energy shift when you retire, as some of you probably know or could attest to this. And by the way, before I forget, I wanted to make sure that I gave accolades to Bea because she has worked on this with us for 3.5 years. She has been instrumental in this. So what we're doing, in fact, she could teach that. We asked Bea, do you want to teach the first one, the Retirement by Design? And she very gracefully said, no, we'll let somebody else do that. But that was her, Retirement by Design was her idea. That was her idea. And so then we're doing one on Social Security. We're doing another one on Medicare. Social Security, we actually have a public affairs specialist coming in from Pueblo who will be teaching that class. And I'll just take a short little note about Social Security. We were fortunate enough to get them on board this year, so we will be having quarterly classes in Social Security, and we're calling them Social Security 101. There are no charges for our classes. This is all information to empower individuals to help them make better decisions as they enter this part of their life. So we'll have Social Security, we'll have Medicare, and our Roma Costanza, who is our expert on staff, will be presenting that class. And then our last one is on estate planning, and that will be an attorney at law named Skip Morgan who will be presenting that. They're all from 6 to 7:30. They're all, like, as I mentioned, free of charge, a service to the public. This is our way of giving back, but also trying to reach more people. We have the SMP program, which Karen has talked to you about, plus the outreach that we're doing to individual groups in the community. But this is yet another way that we can try and reach people. Plus, I know Karen and Roma in particular go out and do Medicare 101 with different organizations, and that's also possible. So that's what we're about, and we want a chance to let you know that we're just up to no good. Yes.
Do you have this possibly electronic that you could send us?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy to post it on the seniors Blue Book calendar if I have it electronically.
Yeah, I will send it to you.
Right?
Yes, Bobby. That's a good question.
Did everybody hear that question?
That's a good
She was asking, is there any plan to put them online or make them somehow digitally available to other areas?
Oh.
You know, Bobby, that's a great idea
Yeah.
because we can record those. We have the capability to record those.
That's
sessions.
what I was just going to say. Well, we actually have a YouTube channel. For those of you who ever have insomnia, just search for PPACG at youtube.com, and then we even have channels. The RAC has its own channel. What we're saying right now will appear on YouTube later today. So we could certainly make that something that we consider is recording some of those classes, putting them on YouTube, and then it would be very easy for folks to find them and watch them at home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that type of notification or getting the word out would also help perhaps with volunteers. If they're aware of the program and it's stated in there that in fact there's a need for volunteers, somebody with an interest in these areas. Might be another way to sort of address the common problem of enough hands and legs and arms and brains working on these things.
Cool. Any other ideas or suggestions or comments, criticisms, accolades? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to the director's report. Joe.
I will try to be brief. I've got a lot of information, but you've been in those chairs a long time, so I'll move as quickly as possible. I know I think Dave was going to talk a little bit about Senior Day at the Capitol. I just wanted to allude to it. Thank Dave and Marilyn for coming up. I'll let you get that report. It was a wonderful event this year. Well attended, standing room only, and first year ever that it's been streamed to anybody that wanted to see it. So we had streaming sites in Grand Junction, Montrose, Fort Collins, and then you could also view it on your own home computer. So it's something to think about for next year. As many of you know, the federal budget is, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
It's a giant question mark.
Big question mark.
It's up in the air. We found out last week that there have been sufficient delays in releasing federal funding that, as many of you know about, roughly half of our funding at the AAA comes through the Older Americans Act funding through the feds. We know that this year their delays have been sufficient enough that the state will not be able to have our option letters ready in order to start the fiscal year. So we're going to start FY18 not knowing exactly how much money we have. We're going to assume that it's probably pretty close to the same as last year unless somebody tells us differently. On the state level, there are multiple bills that are in play right now. Tis the season, and we are in the heat of it right now as they start getting into the appropriations part of the process. I would want to kind of highlight just a few of those bills. And by the way, I have a full list if anybody's interested. The senior lobby out of Denver does an absolutely marvelous job of tracking these. They are at the Capitol every Tuesday and Thursday. They have sources that let them know before it even goes on the legislative website what's going on. So if you ever want to kind of track these, it's kind of fascinating. House bills, there is a data system implementation for at-risk individuals. So basically seniors who are at risk, there would be a background check system that would go through the state as opposed to the CBI, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. So it would basically identify anybody who had ever been tagged with a elder abuse allegation, not necessarily a conviction, but an allegation. So much more thorough. There's a bill for an Office of Public Guardianship, which is we have put forth to the PPACG. We're currently monitoring it. Hopefully we can get to an area where we support that. And that would basically provide guardianship services to folks who are indigent or cannot afford to hire a lawyer themselves. Several Medicaid processes. The one common denominator of all the bills this year is that you have a lot better chance of getting through if you do not have a fiscal note attached to your bill. So if you're just changing rules around and it doesn't cost any money, you've got a lot better shot at getting something done. There's a financial abuse bill which Representative Danielson has introduced, which is a partnership between the private industry and the state in that any securities officials, so your financial advisors, if they suspect abuse, and the common scenario would be maybe a family member, grandson is draining grandma's account because he happens to have access to her savings account. If that financial advisor sees that, he would be able to freeze that account in order for the authorities to have time to investigate that. Then they would unfreeze it, obviously. They don't want to create any hardship there. But they'd be able to act on it before the account is completely drained, because once those accounts get drained, there's just no way to get the money back. It's very, very difficult.
How do they find out about it?
They would, a lot of those folks, those trust officers, are monitoring the accounts for those individuals, so they would see unusual activity at the time. one we're really excited about is there's a study, matter of fact, it was passed and signed 2 days ago. It's Senate Bill 11, which authorizes a study of transportation for handicapped individuals, and in particular, technology advances that you can use to help folks. So looking at technology to make handicapped transportation access a lot better. And that particular program is targeted for El Paso and Teller counties, so it's going to be a wonderful thing for us. It's got a tight timeline. They want the report done on that by December 31st of this year, and there are 10 state commissions that are involved with it. And my comment was, I'm not even sure they can schedule a meeting by December 31st.
Wow.
But it does have a tight timeline, and we will be actively involved. I know the MCC is very involved with that as well. On the state level, there's several of them. So as I said, if you want to know any more about that, we have copies of this, and we also have an electronic version I'd be happy to forward to anybody. Once again, I would encourage you, if you have the opportunity to be involved with the Senior Coalition out of Denver, it's a very active group, and you can do it by phone. You can sit in on their meetings by phone. I think what's the annual membership, Dave? It's like $25 or something.
Yeah, it's a very nominal fee, very worthwhile.
I talked a little bit about the SHIP funding. The Joint Dispatch and Call Center is scheduled to move day after tomorrow, I believe, to their new location. Anybody want to correct me on that knows better than me? I'm pretty sure they said Saturday. They were looking at moving to their permanent location. Right, they're currently in a temporary location at Mountain Metro Transit. Mountain Metro has built a location specifically for the call center, and they'll be moving into that this weekend. They're also doing some enhancements to the phone system. I know that the Silver Key folks have been very patient with not being able to put their calls in a queue for the last 3 or 4 months, and I believe they're working towards solving that problem as well. Transportation is just a huge, huge area. We were just visiting a minute ago. We're looking somewhere in the vicinity of 250 to 300 calls, I think, requests per month that are declined because we cannot fulfill them. Is that pretty close to what you heard, Pat?
Probably between the two of us.
Between all the entities, right? It's a huge amount. So
Yeah, it's probably higher than that.
I'd say double that.
is it really?
Wow.
It's a lot,
Yeah,
and
we're
so
over
that's an area
200
that
a
we will
month.
put as much concentration on as we can.
So are they turned down because there isn't transportation available, or because they don't meet the criteria, or why are there so many turned down?
Sometimes it's because we can't meet the need at the time they want it.
Scheduling.
It's not a criteria problem.
Ours are all capacity as well. They want to go at a time that we're full in general, or the entire schedule is full.
And ultimately, if you wrap that around via what it takes to increase the capacity, blah, 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 ultimately it comes down to money.
Yeah.
The funding.
We need more.
How did we know?
More people, more vehicles.
Yeah.
And volunteers.
May I ask, where is the new office? I mean, just as a,
It's 100 yards south of where they were before. It's
and I don't know where.
straight across the road from the entrance to the cemetery.
To Evergreen. It's on South Union.
Over there.
South Union, so it's west.
It's
It's
Hancock.
west.
It's
Across, it's Hancock.
Yeah, it's the west side of
Straight across Hancock from
You're
the
right, it
entrance
is
to
Hancock.
Evergreen Cemetery. The main building is right there, the northernmost building. This is a brand-new building that will also house Mountain Metro's other handicap access services.
Thank you.
You bet. Maybe they need to have an open house or something.
Yeah.
Why not?
Some of you, if you listen to KRCC, may have heard Scott Bartlett on the radio yesterday morning. He got to do an interview relative to the rapid increase that we're having in skilled nursing facilities of under age 65 folks. We're up, I think, in El Paso County, somewhere in the vicinity of 15% of the residents of skilled nursing facilities are not elderly. They're folks with mental illness, traumatic brain injuries, a variety of things. And so that was a statewide interview Ben Berkman did that went through all the public radio stations throughout the state of Colorado. And then the last thing, which we are very, very proud of, last night they held the Joe Hensham Senior Accolades Award. Joe Ruth was a nominee last year, and we were fortunate enough to have Kent Matthews nominated as the Joe Hengen Legacy Award, which is a senior professional, and then Mindy Putman was nominated as the Volunteer of the Year, and then the Colorado Springs Senior Center, who we work closely with, one of our close partners, was one of the nominees for the Organization of the Year. All three of those folks won. Really good day for the PPACG and a good day for those folks. So if you see Mindy or you see Kent, please congratulate them on that, because it's truly an honor.
Fantastic. And Mindy's working the front desk right now, so you'll see her.
And she has her award sitting on the desk.
The group of people that Kent was going up against were truly remarkable.
There was good competition this year. That was great. Yeah.
So we were very, very proud of that.
It's good.
Any questions for me?
Okay, thank you very much. Just so I'll try to keep mine short as well. There is a handout, as Joe mentioned, so we've got a copy of the special report on the senior day at the Capitol. Marilyn and I drove up for that and spent basically the morning. We didn't get our reservation in for lunch, so we didn't get a chance to hear some of the activities in the afternoon. But the key on that, I think, and it's laid out in this one-page summary, if you will. The governor, lieutenant governor, and I think it was a total of 8 either senators or representatives addressed the group in the morning. So, I mean, that's great representation. It shows the commitment and the focus that the senior legislative and elected officials have for seniors. Two facts that are noted there that I think are really just stunning. We've had a 29% increase in the state's 65-plus population between 2010 and 2015. And then the next number is even more astounding to me. Between now and 2030, over 500,000 more seniors are going to be in the state's population. That's a 68% increase. And that's in the SAPCA data, I think, in the state demographer's office. That's where those figures come from. And that is huge. The implications are just, there's just going to be a cascading effect, and I think that for the most part, I mean, the providers are beginning to be aware, are already trying to grapple with that, but I think that as a state, as communities, we're not really even thinking about that in general. You think about who's going to provide that home care, who's going to provide that transportation, who's going to help out with these increasing numbers of rapidly aging seniors that we have. It's a huge challenge. Colorado's on the forefront of this. I think we're one of the fastest growing in the country, and I think El Paso County is one of the fastest growing in the state. So I won't take up any more time on that, but please, if you have any questions on that, please, Marilyn and I will be happy to talk to you about that. I wanted to mention that Laura is here from UCCS, Laura Engelman, and she had asked in an email, we talked about the UCCS newsletter.
Yeah, we have a newsletter. It's short. We've just gone to a new interactive format, thanks to... Oh, very good, very
Yes.
good. Thanks to people who know more about technology than we do. And so if you'd like to be on our newsletter mailing list, I just asked Dave, it would be all right if we got your email addresses if you don't want it.
So that's the question there. Are we all agreeable or amenable to having UCCS have, add our names to the access list so that we can get that? Sure. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's a yes, perfect. So Laura, you got
It's
your
every
answer.
other month and not very long to read.
And they won't market that address list either to anybody else, right?
No, we promise.
One of the access numbers you need is when it storms. We can't get in here.
Okay.
I'm going to send that email out, Clint, when the meeting is over.
Okay?
So Clint's asking about the inclement weather policy and how do we find out about meeting delays, and that's actually in your RAC packet.
It is.
So if you look in that purple folder, you have that handout, but it's never a bad idea to redistribute that information, and it will be a great way to jot down that phone number and call our main number, and they'll tell you whether we're closed or whether we have a delay or whether we're open. And we're almost always open. Almost always.
That's right. Well, hopefully we're through almost the winter delays and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Fires. Famous last words.
Fires coming up.
Okay, so
Fire season.
Could we also get that
It's already here.
someplace where subcontractors would
you say?
Yeah, that we've had meetings that we couldn't verify whether there was a meeting or not, and the front desk
Didn't know.
get the message early enough.
Have what moved to a place where you can look at it?
The information about how to find out if the meeting's still on, like if it was on the downloads on the website or with the information about
Sure.
the meetings.
You know what I'll do? I'll send it out to the entire provider list.
Okay, because
Yeah.
we've wound up not knowing, just coming and crossing our fingers.
That's currently a voicemail message, Bobby, so anybody can access that.
Yeah, but I think,
We did. We had called in, and no one was at the desk when we have to leave from Park County. We need a 2-hour advance.
it's always changed by 6 o'clock in the morning on that day.
It's posted by 6 in the morning.
Okay.
But
We
you,
didn't know, and I think the message was old or something. And
you raise a good point, and I will make sure that I send that out to the providers.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up, Bobby. One note for the next meeting, I'd like to throw out that we've done a little bit of talking about how to show the community or engage with the community where we all live and do our thing, whether it's volunteer or work. And I think that one of the things that I've been focused on is trying to say, okay, so from a AAA and a RAC perspective, there's about $4 million that come through on an annual basis that go out to a lot of the various providers here, delivering really, really important critical services to seniors. And I think that just like we're hearing from the two AAA presentations this morning, it's hard getting that information out on what's available and what the impact of those services are, whether it's volunteers or anything else. So for the next meeting, I'd like to put something on the agenda. We'll talk a little bit about setting a goal and talk about that a little bit, perhaps on how we increase or deliver an outreach or an impact in the individual communities where we all reside, whether it's in northern El Paso County or it's in the eastern El Paso County, Teller or Park. How do we get the information out, and how do we try to increase that visibility? As Joe is pointing out from the budget perspective, that's a huge issue. If people are aware that, in fact, okay, these dollars are coming from federal and from state, that's really an important thing we need to get across. So for the next April meeting, then we'll have a discussion on there about goals. So think about how we might increase our impact and make it more visible, if you will, to the constituencies, the communities that we serve. I'd like to point out, I went up to the Aspen Mine Center up in Cripple Creek, and that's a Community of Caring Foundation, which we fund up there. But this is an outstanding organization. I've heard about it for years and finally said, okay, I'm going. So I spent about 2 hours up there talking with Ted Borden and with Rebecca Blair, and I was amazed, just amazed at how that organization and the individuals up there have come together to provide one-stop shopping, if you will, for all services, or for a huge variety of services for residents in that Cripple Creek, Victor area and the surrounding geographic area. We have a lot of seniors that are isolated. So I just, it strikes me, I can tell you more about it, and I'll try to put something into a piece of paper that I'll distribute electronically. But the point of it for me is that it was hugely, it was a learning experience, and it was very meaningful to really see them serving seniors and serving the community needs on a personal basis. It wasn't a huge imposition on my time or anything else. It was just driving up there for a couple hours and just walking around and talking with the volunteers and some of the staff that they have. It was hugely important. So I'd like to throw that out again for the members, that I think between now and Christmas, it would be great if we could each take on and just say, okay, I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to visit 2 of the roughly 20 providers or so that we have. Just work with Pat, work with AmpliCab, and just say, hey, I'd like to come over and spend about an hour just to walk around and to see the situation, what they face on a day-to-day basis. I think it will help us be better advocates, if you will, for senior services. So I'll throw that out. It'd be nice to have. Just make a mental note, if you can. Try to say, let's visit. You can do it separately, or maybe, link arms with somebody else, and just go and take a look at these other providers. I think it would really, really be worthwhile for everybody. Last thing I'll throw out is that I think that for the April meeting, we started the table talk, trying to send out information on a monthly basis between meetings and the rest of it. And the catalyst for that was Joe and I talking, I think in December meeting, and it was just like it was an informal get-together after the meeting. And that social interaction was really huge. So for the April meeting, what I'd like to do is try to condense the actual agenda, if you will, so that we carve out probably 30 minutes at the end, so we can just sit. We can just talk, and very informally. But I think it'd be really important for us to have that opportunity to network and to really find out, hey, what's really going on. Yes, Carrie?
So this piggybacks nicely on a suggestion that I was going to make offline, which is that instead of holding just the potluck at the end of the year, that perhaps we have a brown bag to tie onto that. But I will tell you, you do not have to adjust the agenda.
Okay.
We are almost done with today's meeting, and we still have 48 minutes left. So especially if the meeting is in this space, there's rarely a meeting that comes up immediately after hours ends. So even if we use the last 30 minutes of the RAC meeting, but people are enjoying themselves, they can sit for another hour if they want and just be in the space.
Okay, so for the April meeting, then we'll try to, this make a mental note that will be on the agenda when it comes out, that we'll have a social or a conversation time after the actual scheduled meeting. And I'd suggest that maybe we'd want to each bring a shareable lunchie. Not a lunch, but just something, a little something. Just to keep it informal, we can say, oh, yeah, that's a really great brownie, or I really like that cheese dip, or...
No, you were good with brownie.
But again, just to kind of get an informal conversation over food, I think that's a really important. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to second that because we had talked about the table talk thing, and I think it's that social getting together that is really much better than having to read something again alone, because we do a lot of that reading alone on other things that we're trying to be informed about.
Right. Yeah.
So good idea.
That's really an important point that Nancy mentioned, and she and I have talked a little bit about the table talk. So just piggybacking what you just said, if somebody is Frances gave me something, an article that she has on entitled "Getting Clumsy Feel For and Blurry Look at Aging." So it's an intergenerational look at how they deal with seniors. So again, from your perspectives, when you're reading, when you're talking to people, when you hear about new programs or things that support or engage with seniors, that's really the type of information that we're trying to ensure gets spread around. Because there's so much information out there, and you just can't possibly track it all yourself. So that's just one more thing to keep in mind.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
By the way, your fire thing is already out and about, and it is already doubled this year on your fire hazard. All the fires that have come loose out east, all of it is because of carelessness, of people not even thinking. Anytime that you take a bag and you put it out in your driveway and you light a fire, I mean, that's just the stuff that they have been dealing with out there. The reason I know is because I go and I give water to all the firefighters when we're out there, the police, the firefighters, and the whole thing. And it has been one constant thing right after another, and it has doubled. So with up above or out east or whatever it is, and the rain that we got, thank goodness, does help, but it doesn't.
Helps, but it doesn't
but
cure
it doesn't cure it. It's just people have just really gotten really sloppy about a lot of things.
Very much so.
So, comments or questions or anything else on things that I mentioned? If not, I think, okay, or Carrie, did you have anything on the events, AAA events?
Nope.
Community
I think
information?
Pamela really covered that with her Ent series.
Okay. Carolyn?
On community information, there was a notice on TV a couple of days ago about senior fraud, which of course happens all the time. But this is where they were targeting seniors by calling them and asking them a question that they would, in other words, where the respondent would say yes.
Can you hear me?
It's called phishing.
Okay. Anyway, then they record it and they use it for saying that you bought something, and they get cleverer and clever. And I just thought I'd bring that up.
No,
So
I think that's-
There's
if you don't know it, the number, don't answer it.
That's exactly what Steve
That's
said.
that, and I get quite a few of them. In fact, I've started getting more, and I'm being on the no-call list. That's another thing that is just really a rip-off, too, because it's not working.
Doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
For that reason.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
I just, and you do it, even if you renew it every month, it's still the same thing. And you get these numbers and you're thinking, I don't know anybody there.
I don't know them.
I don't even answer them anymore.
So the Better Business Bureau, excuse me, has a senior scam tracker on their website. So you can go and you can both report scams and you can see what's going on. So if you start getting those kinds of calls, you can see if it's something that people are aware of, and if not, you can report it right there. But little known tidbit about the Better Business Bureau.
And what's it called, senior scam?
I don't know what it's called, but
Okay.
scam tracker, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's handy.
yeah, you
That's
just
good
go on their
information.
website and you click right on it, and I mean it's pretty easy to use and always good information there.
I think the reason I don't get any of those calls is because I never signed up for the no-call list.
Probably so. In each phone that you have, I have two, and you have to call in every month. I call in every month and get right back on it, but it doesn't do any good.
Well, there's a difference between who has to abide by the do not call list and who does not. Criminals don't care. If they're scamming, they're going to call.
It is
But
political
if
either.
you sign up to receive literature, say from AARP, and you put your phone number down, then you're going to get a call from AARP, and you're not going to get just one, you're going to get one from each of their programs.
Exactly.
But if you have said, don't call me for no reason, then you will not find people, like, in theory, you shouldn't be getting phone calls from companies that want to have your business for lawn maintenance and things like that, because if you report them, they will have consequences, but the criminals do not care. So those are the ones that I assume are calling most of the time.
And there's a good number of overseas calls as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Over there, a lot of those calls are coming from outside the country where there is no prosecutorial jurisdiction.
Right, they'll call on a Canadian cell phone. They might be in the United States, but
Can
they'll
you
be.
hear me?
Yep.
That one.
I think one thing to keep in mind is mentally be prepared for anybody calling you and you're not sure who that is. When they ask you a question, turn back and give them a question. Who's calling? Don't say yes, don't say no. Who's calling? Because it turns them around. Yet they don't get that yes from you that they want.
And they hang up.
On the phone. So
That's good.
who's calling, please?
Anything else? Yes, Ben?
I just have a question. I received an email notice from AARP where they want to establish some type of senior council in El Paso County. Do we already have enough senior councils, or,
What that was more than likely is you got on the mailing list for the Age Friendly Initiative, which is a joint venture nationally between AARP and the World Health Council. And we are actively involved. Carrie was a discipline leader, Kent was a discipline leader, I was on one of the committees, and that went, I have not heard the results yet, but that went to commission yesterday, city council, I'm sorry, for funding authorization to establish a commission on aging for Colorado Springs. There are several commissions on aging in Colorado, Denver being the most obvious one, and then the state one. But the local ones, we have yet to establish one, and so that's what that was about.
So,
something that you would support?
Absolutely.
City Council passed the ordinance the day before yesterday. There's one final vote before the commission then moves on to the open application phase. But as of this point in time, there will be, it looks as if there will be a Colorado Springs commission, and I think they're calling it Commission on Community Living. Does that sound right, Joe? You went to that first meeting.
They were calling it Commission on Aging when they were.
Okay.
It passed 7-2. There were 2 city council people.
Yes,
against it.
there were. I could have guessed who they would have been, too.
If you know their names.
Yes.
Any other comments or input? Community information? We have a TRS meeting coming up, right?
We do.
On this,
That is-
4th?
It's on the 4th of April. It's on 4/4.
Doing this weekend.
4/4 in the afternoon, and it will be publicly posted on the website, and I will send around an invitation as well.
And the time for that, do you know?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, okay.
Upstairs?
Yes.
Okay. And again, TRS is one of the 2 subcommittees that we have, the Technical Review Subcommittee. This is the one that has the responsibility to look at all the provider requests for funding and to review that, review the materials, review past records, look at the numbers, and make recommendations then. So the TRS meets in the spring. Typically, Jerry's been on, I've been on it, a number of others have. It's a really good experience and exposure to really get an understanding, okay, so how do the dollars come in and how do the dollars, perhaps how they get apportioned, if you will. So it's an open meeting, so members are encouraged to sit in and participate in that process. That's 4th of April, 1 to 4 p.m. upstairs.
How many do you have on that committee?
I think there are, what,
6.
4? 6.
6.
6, okay. And Carrie has the names. Cheryl is.
That's fine.
Sorry? Cheryl Schnell is the chair.
Right.
Yes.
He's the chair, right. Okay, anything else on that? Anything else? We've got the next meeting is a week earlier in April. It's on the 20th, 9 to 12. And again, that will be, we'll have that social interaction, bring a shareable munchie for the last half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. I think it'd be a great time to just kind of share things, what are going on, a little bit more detail than we do here.
Why is it a week earlier?
Yes, ma'am?
Why is it a week earlier?
Because AAA staff is not available the last week in April.
Okay.
And is it here? It says location to be determined.
It will likely be here. I will confirm that and let you all know.
Okay.
Likely.
That on my calendar.
I just put it in my phone.
Any other comments, questions? We'll have the meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bring a snack.
Yeah, it's like,
It's Wednesday the 12th. Jelly beans.
jelly beans.
Yeah, it's the same day. It's just
Hard-boiled eggs.
I've heard of that.
Right.
Whatever I can buy at the last time.
5:30.
Thank you.
I haven't been.
No, I haven't read that either.
That's my thing out?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Get through.
Thank you.
You bet.
I will be
All
there.
right.
Experiences were fun.
Thanks.
I just called Denny, and he said, "You're ready?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm on my way."
Thanks, Dave.
That's always good. So you're early for your appointment.
I'm early, but I'm going to go do a couple of errands while I'm down here.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I was going to do them
Subtleties. You can do it before and everything's good.
All right.
I'm just gonna tidy up and wait outside.
I'm sorry, Joe and I are both going to be gone on the 27th.
12:30 on Tuesday.
Okay, we'll expect you.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
I always see
You know, I watch the news to see what the weather is. The reason I watch the news anymore. Otherwise, I'm here. It's all bad. It's all caca. You know, I'm so tired of it.
it would be harder for me to
Anyway, yeah. Like, you know, we gotta do something about that.
Yes, well, we'll all get a B if nothing else.
I don't remember exactly when that came into my response category.
You are not.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was on that anymore. Okay, thank you.
You're not.
I'm all packed.
Yeah, I know.
Let me know what I can do to help. Okay. I just want people to know what's going on. Well, I can just leave this here and they'll.
Hi there.
I can be helpful.
No. The 15th, 17th or something like that. And it's from France.
Okay. So,
Great, thank you.
Okay.
all right, we'll do.
I don't know what it says. Oh, my goodness. I think it's more just the intergenerational stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least we'll know on the way down, huh? Well, no, the table talk for today.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
Until next
good
month.
to
Thank
see
you.
you. I'll see
Until
you
next month.
Well, no, we'll see you on Tuesday.
You're welcome, Dave.
Thank you. Yeah. 1 to 4.
You are very welcome. Happy reading.
How long it was going to take, that's why I said to Denny, I said, you're driving me and picking me up on Tuesday. Oh, no. You are. I said, I just don't know how long I'm going to be gone. The next one is the one,
What, in April?
yeah, the 14th.
Oh, yeah, that one I can't go to.
Right, you're not going, so I told Denny,
Okay,
I'm
that's
on
right.
his calendar for the 14th.
Be able to send me the email address.
Just going to Glenwood for one.
Yes,
Oh,
We already had
I love Glenwood. Yeah, hot non-stop holidays, get out.
Well, and that was very nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. Hamburger on my part.
Well, you didn't have any.
And have a
Just
cocktail.
sort of clarification.
Still.
Oh, I love it. It's just wonderful. There you go.
It's like my favorite
Fun.
close getaway.
Hope to
It is.
It really is.
tag along.
Thank you, darling.
I
You
wouldn't
too.
be in the extreme hot dog anymore.
Good.
Hate that.
But you know what?
Excellent.
That's the beauty was my job.
Well, yeah, I mean, somebody's got to do
It's
it.
cool. Yeah. So we can still, we did Glenwood on our way back from our honeymoon years ago. That was like, what, 31 years ago? We go, yeah, we spent New Year's in the pool one time.
We did too.
Before we were married.
Well, it was before we were married, but it was freezing cold.
Oh, with snowflakes.
Yeah, it was so
Oh.
fun. Isn't that funny?
You couldn't see anybody?
It was a Colorado New Year's.
It's a Colorado New Year. Carrie, thank you for everything.
You're very welcome.
Right there, it's like, John, and he said, I'm now 65, and so, I mean, you really get a sense of what's going on. I would say of the 8 representatives, I mean, they were all on the Democratic side, with the exception of one. Which, to me, that would be, well, that's kind of a big oversight on the part of that side. I mean, just if nothing else, hey, we care about you.
Numbers.
Exactly. And you think about who's voting, most of the people there are, you know, on the hazard of guess, I'm a little bit to the right of center. So. But most of the people are on the social service side. I mean, it is the softer science, and it's a little bit more on the emotional side, at least committed to the needs. And
Right.
and on
It's the people,
It's
you know.
important. It's people concerns.
Yeah.
And that's important, but this part of the political spectrum is kind of ignoring it. It's a huge opportunity.
Given the population, the meal change that you're talking about, you know.
That's just huge. And again, the budget is a huge thing. If one party is going to say, we care about and we want to support these issues, and boy, don't cut those, and this part is just not saying anything.
Maybe neutral, you know.
It's a big no-no. So in our local gatherings and stuff, we should say, you gotta get your butt up there. You gotta tell our representatives to talk. That senior, how is an important piece. And that senior lobby, senior lobby.
I went online, you know, and looked at it, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is neat. Yet, like, only shelf stable so many bills, you know. It's just like, that